When did you witness someone's large ego get absolutely flattened? A guy in our union was running for some executive board position, and he was telling everyone what an easy win it was gonna be for him because nobody liked the other two people running for the job. Come election day he got a very humbled awakening. Out of 1300 people he got less than 10 votes. He didn't speak to many people for a while after that. Nobody likes a braggart. I worked at support for my school while I was in college. One of my coworkers was the type who thinks they're the smartest guy in the room. One day he came in and couldn't get his monitors to work. After 10 minutes of watching him struggle, I tried to interject and help, but got a long-winded rant about how he's been working with computers his whole life and doesn't need any help. If he can't figure it out, I certainly wouldn't be able to. I just responded with, "That's cool, man. I just thought monitors had to be plugged into work. My bad." His entire face turned red and he looked like he wanted to die as he realized both monitors were unplugged. I used to work at a photography studio. I'm not a photographer, but I know some basics. Photographer guy, probably in his 50s, tells me the equipment he rented isn't working, and he is ranting on about how he has wasted 25 minutes of his rental time because his camera wasn't syncing to the lighting equipment, all in front of his poor clients. Best moment of my life. As he was cursing me out, I walked over and wordlessly plugged it in. Never seen a grown man turn so red. When I was a kid, a new guy showed up at church. He was inordinately proud of the fact that he had a PhD in communications and insisted everyone call him doctor, and he was old enough that it's not like he just got his doctorate. He basically treated everyone else like uneducated rubes because he was a doctor. Welp, the neurosurgeon, the anesthesiologist, the radiologist, chief of radiology at the biggest regional hospital, the 3 dentists, the 2 orthodontists, and a handful of other people that I have no idea what they did all started calling each other doctor as well. Weirdly, Mr. Communications stopped insisting everyone call him doctor. Once I saw 2 young kids, probably like 13 years old, try to cross the street. A guy in a pickup truck yelled at them to get out of the way. The kids had the right of way and said something back to the guy. The guy loses his sh and jumps out of the truck acting like a harday and got up in the one kid's face screaming and yelling. When he took his eyes off of the kid he was yelling at to yell at the other kid. Bam, right hook to the face from the first kid. He got dropped with one punch. The 2 kids took off like the Roadrunner. By the time the guy got up, they were gone. That guy was probably 20 years older than them and got wrecked. I imagine he had to go to work the next day with a big shiner and had to lie about what happened. It was so awesome. He totally deserved it. Ex-girlfriend was hostess at a swanky restaurant in Seattle. She was looking down at her book when some people approached the dais and a guy said, "I need a table for 8. She said without looking up, "It's probably going to be at least a 90-minute wait." Voice says, "But I'm David Copperfield." X says, "Then maybe you can make a table appear." Finishes what she's doing, looks up. It's actually David Copperfield. No table appeared. Oh, so many times. I live in the DC area. The number of times I have seen men patronize a little gray-haired woman and then learn she is a power player. It's glorious. My favorite was a backyard barbecue with some friends who sail. You've got everyone from the guy who scrapes barnacles off the bottom of the boats to old Navy dudes to the people who own racing yachts. And you cannot tell by looking. These yacht racers dress like they went shopping at the Salvation Army in 1989. So there we are, watching the kids spray each other with a hose and waiting for burgers. And my friend's new brother-in-law is a lawyer. He wants everyone to know he is a lawyer. He's swaggering around like, well, as an attorney. Oh god. He is super patronizing to a nice older lady and a teen girl, then heads over for yet another beer. He's pulling his I'm LRYR routine on a guy and the guy says, "Oh, hey, I have a great person for you to meet." Drags the jackass back over to the older lady and the teen girl and introduces the jackass to the 2. Jackass realizes he bragged about being a lawyer to the dean of a major law school and Justice Scalia's granddaughter. I thought the jackass was going to crap himself. US Army. Basic training. 1988. We had a certified gunner in our platoon that was so hyped on guns and shooting he was certain he was going to outshoot us all and get the BRM award. Basic rifle marksmanship. One of several awards given out at the end of basic training. He was always trying to correct the trainers and teachers in the shooting classes. Always hyping up how much of a sniper he was going to be, how many guns he has, etc. He had to qual twice and barely made the cute off the second time. Me, never fired a rifle before, followed the class and range training, got the award. Him, didn't say a word the rest of basic training. I knew a guy that always felt the need to one-up everything I said. I was on the phone with my girlfriend at the time and he happened to overhear us talking. He came up to me and started to brag about himself, loud enough for my girlfriend to hear, and how he could steal my girl just by talking to her on the phone for 10 minutes. I offered him my phone and my girlfriend reamed him out for 5 minutes straight before he handed me back the phone and walked off. I was so proud of her, haha. I got promoted at a McDonald's, wow, over some other girl. I didn't even know I was being considered until a day or two before the managers voted. I was told to come in the next day in my new uniform and the other girl came in, saw my uniform, and quit on the spot. She accused me of stealing her promotion. I found out from an assistant manager that they were openly considering her and tried to push her towards things she would need to know/do, and she would never take the initiative to learn more, do more. I actively tried to learn more, mainly to get out of service and into the kitchen, fuck the public, and was well liked by most of the crew/management, and someone randomly tossed my name in the conversation. I knew this girl who was a part of my friend group back in high school. She started really harshly bullying one of the girls in our group and wouldn't own up to it or apologize in any way, so we all cut ties with her. Shortly afterwards she moved away. Let me tell you, I have never seen such sudden and strong entitlement come from a person. She reached out to the girl she was bullying almost a year later and told her she was coming back and was going to ruin her life. Said she was going to rejoin the youth group at our church and spread horrible rumors about her so that nobody would like her anymore and she'd be able to steal all of her friends back. Also said she was going to play the victim card and tell everyone that she was the one being harassed. We shared those messages with our minister and she was promptly banned from that group and never got to show her face there again. She also started posting things about all of us on TikTok, which we reported and ended up getting her temporarily banned from the platform. She wasn't able to get a job in this town because everywhere she applied there was someone there who knew what she did and told their boss not to hire her, and now her grandma is kicking her out and sending her back home. There was this annoying woman in my department at work back in the early 80s. She was one of those who had already seen it/done it better during any topic of conversation. It bugged me because it seemed to me that the bulk of her claims were products of her imagination. But many of our co-workers thought that Lynn was so cool. She knows so many famous people and has visited all these exotic places. Well, she crossed the line with me in 1980 when I was fortunate enough to get front row tickets to a Queen concert in Detroit via a scalper. I paid $45 each, but it was worth it. That was back in the day when the front row folks were squished against the stage so that we rested our forearms on it. Both Freddie and Brian shook my hand during the show. Of course, since I was willing to spend that kind of cash to see them, it only makes sense that I was a huge fan and knew a lot about the band and its history. Come Monday morning I go to work and talk enthusiastically about seeing Queen so closely, and Lynn interjects offhandedly, "Oh, I remember partying with them back in the day when they played small clubs. I remember seeing them at some small downtown Detroit bar and playing cards with them backstage later." I looked her in the eye and replied, "The first time Queen ever played in Detroit was at the Ford Auditorium in February 1975. They've never played club dates in Detroit." She just gave me a frozen smile, patted my arm, and walked away. After that she never interacted with me, unless absolutely necessary. A dude in high school had lots of money growing up. He liked to splash it around and bragged about fancy clothes and cars and throwing parties where he would supply alcohol for everyone. I wasn't so much of a friend, but we just ran in different circles. A few years later it was discovered that they were so rich because his dad, who was a wealth manager, embezzled money for years from his clients. This was a sort of small community, so his clients were all friends and family. It was all over the press that his dad went to jail. This hit him hard. I ran into him a few years later, and he had changed his name. His personality was different, and he even walked with a different poster. I couldn't imagine how much this would have rocked his world. It definitely took his ego down a few notches. I sort of felt bad for him as he was just a product of his environment. He didn't know that it was at the cost of practically everyone around him. An ex-friend of mine always thought of herself as better than me, mainly when we were in university and she had better grade. She was always a bit condescending and telling me I was wrong, explaining things slowly and assuming that she knew better than me. I let it go because I did not really care. Then one day she was speaking about her salary and how she just got a promotion. We were all happy for her, but then she started going around the table and asked how many the others were making. Everybody was making more than her. When my turn come, I see a bit of hope that at least I should be paid less than her, but that was not the case. By far, I saw her deflate so fast. She became grey and sad. It made me sad for her because she made herself so unhappy, and I could not really help her because the reason she was unhappy was that I was not under her.